issue with suspended. No, and then he broke his foot and modified.
Oh,
So he
thank you, all set?
But I did kick another kid off.
All rise for the saying of the national anthem. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I believe there's no public to be heard.
Correct.
All right, so I'm up. The good news. All right, from the high school, Kelly Gardner. Shout out to Omar Hussein and Jess Corzilius for taking on our freshman orientation this year and doing an outstanding job. It was great to see all of our new students in the halls on their scavenger hunt learning about BHS. Great job. From the middle school, Melanie Case. The third annual BCSD Summer Music Camp was a success. Incoming 4th and 5th grade students spent the week taking small group lessons on their instruments, participating in singing and music theory sessions, and performing a concert for their families at the end of the week. Current BMS students also had the opportunity to take a half-hour voice lesson each day of the week of camp. Many thanks to the maintenance team for having the music rooms ready, and to the nutritional services team for providing breakfast and lunch to the participants. From John Kenny, Julie Wazalewski, Karina Bauman, and Lisa Bonarigo. Holly Hronek has made the process of registering children for school seamless and positive for families and staff. She's a wonderful addition to the BCSD family. It is a pleasure working with Holly. And then from the district, Tricia Finnegan. Thank you to Ryan Duffy, Director of Holland Land Office Museum. Ryan hosted our morning session of new employee orientation on August 31st. Our newest Blue Devils family members had an opportunity to learn more about Batavia by touring the different rooms and viewing a variety of artifacts. And there's plenty more good news, so please take the opportunity and get on our page and take a look at it. Next up, we have Mr. John Kirkwood and Mr. Mark Staley, our hockey coaches, up to make a presentation for a tournament trip.
Hi everybody, thanks for taking a few minutes here to hear us out. As you know, we're an independent program. We're not supplied with a league or a schedule by Monroe County or anything, so as an independent program we have to go find our own 20 games every year. The good news is that the success of the program over the last 2 years, we had 28 requests for games from around the state. So we got to pick and choose, which is, in 23 years, first time I've been able to do that. Normally we're on the phone calling saying, can we get a game? This year we got to pick and choose, and we're going to go play Orchard Park this year at the Harbor Center, one of the top ranked teams in the state. McQuaid's coming to town, Pittsford's coming to town, Victor's coming to town, all the big Rochester schools. Williamsville East, we're going to play Grand Island this year, one of the best Class B schools in the state. But we always travel one time a year. And this year, we were invited to 3 separate tournaments. The tournament that we would like to go to is in Glens Falls, New York. I play at the Glens Falls Civic Center, which if you've ever watched the movie Slapshot, you'll know that part of that movie was actually filmed in that building. The games we would play would be on Friday night against Queensbury, who is a Division II Class B champion out there, and we'd play Adirondack, who is the Division Section 10 Class B champion. So it's a no-joke trip, but it would be a great test for our kids. It would be Friday, Saturday. The Friday game is 5 o'clock. We asked for it to be backed up. It's not possible because it's a tournament. So we would have to have the kids dismissed from school a little bit early on Friday for us to get to Glens Falls in time. We'd probably have to be there about an hour early at 4 o'clock. So probably a noon dismissal at the absolute latest is what we would need to ask for. It's been already proved over with Notre Dame for the kids to leave early. We would be traveling once again in what we call youth hockey fashion, where the kids travel with their parents down to the arena. When they're with John and I, they're under our purview when they're in the rink. We oversee them. We go to the hotel. They're with their parents, in the rooms with their parents. The parents rent the rooms. That's the way that we've always done it. I think that works best. It's really hard now in terms of overseeing and monitoring kids, especially when you're talking about traveling, to have 3 kids in a room or 4 kids in a room. It's just not the way we want to do it. So parents understand that this is how we travel and this is how the trip would go. And they've come to expect that. This is how they travel with their youth hockey teams as well. It's a very quick trip because we play at 5 o'clock and then we play at 10 o'clock the next morning. We'll probably be home that Saturday here in Batavia by 4 o'clock at the latest. But it's 2 games of the 20, and it's the only time that we would stay overnight unless we get into the state tournament, which then we would go someplace anywhere across the state. But are there any questions about the trip other than early dismissal is really unique? That's the first time that we've asked for that because in the past we've traveled during break, like during that Christmas winter break, and it was a little easier. But
If any of the parents can't attend, then what happens with that player?
that's a good question. So in the past, like last year, there were 1 or 2 parents that couldn't get down there that day, and they gave permission for their kids to ride with other families. Most of them make it down there in the evening for the game and stay. We did have 1 or 2 students that then stayed with like another family.
Okay. So it's nothing on you guys as the coaches?
It's not on us, no.
Okay.
And we don't want to do that. I mean, 10 years ago even, when we used to travel, like we'd have room assignments for the kids, it just was a nightmare, right? We're walking the halls at night making sure everybody's in their room. It just doesn't, that's not what we're going down. We're not going down there for fun. We're going down there to play 2 games and be competitive and come home and be safe. And we just think that, with the commitment, it's best that the kids be with their families driving down, staying with their parents in the hotel room. They tend to help us, make sure the kids are in bed and overseeing things. And, then John and I typically will arrange for some video in the morning with some breakfast. The kids will come down and have that with us. The boosters will take care of like the breakfast and the food, things like that. But really the travel to and from and staying in the hotel rooms is really where the parents come and play. But that's a good question because with 2 of our players, that did happen last year. And it could this year as well. But with enough notice, a lot of that stuff can be planned around. A lot of parents will say, I'm working Friday, I'm going to get to the game, but I can't leave at noon. Right, so a lot of times our parents will shuttle kids down. So.
Can I ask, so once the parents make an arrangement with the other family member to, take on their child, is that ever put in writing? That they have responsibility?
Yeah, they usually would say, they'd have a note for us saying we authorize such and such. We've been careful to make sure there's no medication issues. We work with the nurse on all that stuff, and it's usually, yes, and we take that, we would take it to Mike and whomever's in the AD's office, and they say, okay, we approve it, and make sure that it's on the app, and we know that. Not many kids.
No, and last year it was 2 Notre Dame students, and they provided letters to Mike Rapone so that he knew that these kids are traveling with these families. But I don't believe any Batavia players. I think all the families went. Yeah.
But if there were Batavia kids that fell in that category, the documentation would just go to Ryan and...
Our new AD.
Ryan.
Typically the athletic director.
Okay, perfect.
They see it beforehand and make sure that everything's okay, and then they let us know what they want to present.
And this is a trip that you guys have done previously in the past 2 years, right? You've traveled out that way.
Yes, yeah. We did go to Albany last year, so Glens Falls in the same area.
Right.
And then we went, our first year, we went up north to Potsdam.
Right, okay.
So we typically like to travel once a year. A lot of other schools don't get the opportunity to do that, but it gets the kids out across the state. They can see some other competition. And it's great. Our schedule this year, amazing. 11 home games, 9 away games. And 7 of the 20 games that we play this year are against teams that won their sectional championship last year, either Class A or Class B. So we,
Good hockey games.
It's going to be a challenge for the kids, but this is what we wanted, right? This is what we wanted. And the JV, we have the JV schedule all set with 18 games. They play 9 home, 9 away. And the JV games were traditionally Sunday evenings. It was like JV night in Batavia. We've moved that now to Wednesday. We've worked with Matty Gray at the rink, largely because of NFL football. I'll be quite honest with you. We had a hard time getting referees on Sunday evenings, right? We'd see the same couple guys, and we would say, hey, we need to shuffle this around a little bit. So the league, not just us, but the league just said, let's get away from scheduling Sundays for JV. And everybody has abided by that. So our JV team won't have any Sunday games. They're mostly Wednesday, home and away, and then we have like one Friday night and a couple Saturdays. So we like the way that that flows a lot better, too.
I share quick just a little bit about the mod, just to give you a little update on the mod.
I was going to ask you about the
Modified program.
Go ahead.
Fantastic season. They start mid-March to late March. They run through the end of May.
Yeah.
All right. Played on Sundays. Kids were great. Probably 16, 17 kids on the mod squad this past year.
16.
Very well, very competitive. We played in one of the higher divisions. But that was a big success. We enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. We played at Harper Center. Every game was there. Kids come from all over the place. Probably, 26 schools? I don't know, different schools.
Yeah, 26 different schools, and there's like 37 teams, because like Clarence will have 3 teams, Orchard Park has 3 teams. And the success that our varsity team had, they put our modified team in a higher division. And so we were below 500, but the kids really improved a lot. I mean, we played Orchard Park, we played Clarence, we played Lancaster, we played some big school districts that we would normally like. And, you know, we took our lumps, but the kids really improved. They had some fun with it. It didn't really interfere with any of their spring sports because the games were just on Sunday. We're very hopeful that we can continue this again this year, but we're looking at numbers right now, because the 6th grade class moving to 7th grade is very thin for hockey players on the Batavia and the Northern side. I think there's 6 total hockey players in the 6th grade class between 2. So, I mean, the 7th graders next year. In the 8th graders, there's 5 8th graders that will pull up to JV next year because we need the numbers on JV. And we knew this a couple of years ago. So right now it looks like we're at like 9 players and 1 goalie for a modified team, which we could probably still make work. But for safety reasons, you want to be 13, 14. You don't want kids on the ice every other shift. Just, you know, it is checking league for some of these kids. It's their first introduction to checking on the ice, and so John and I, in the initial practices we had, made sure that we did a lot of work with that. But it was a lot of fun, and I think it got a lot of the younger kids who come to the games really excited about kind of moving up through the program. But yeah, 5 of the kids who played on modified will come right to JV next year, and then the liquid kids graduate, and the JV kids will come up. We're really excited about our JV kids coming up, the varsity this year too, because they're going to be ready to play, because they didn't sit the bench last year. They played 18 games. They had a lot of really good experience, and they'll be able to step right in now varsity and be ready to go. So at least that's the plan.
Good.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I do need a motion on that to approve it.
Right now?
Yes.
All right, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Bowman, can I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, okay.
All right, next up, from the Richmond Memorial Library, Mrs. Samantha Basile. Did I say that right?
Yes, you
Okay.
did. Good evening. So I'm Samantha Basile. I'm the Community and Adult Services Librarian at Richmond. I'm also second under Director Beth Payne, who was unfortunately unable to be here this evening. But we're glad Jason asked us to come and share a little bit about the library and what we've been up to at Richmond. So first, there you go. Oh, thank you. So I just wanted to share a graphic that we included in our annual report this year, just showing a little bit about our library usage. We are busy at the library. We serve an average of 186 people per day in 2022. Over 100,000 physical items circulated and nearly 20,000 digital items, which includes ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, all of those good things. We continue to be used to check out physical items. People say, do people still use the library? They do. And computer usage is also a big part. You can see we had over 10,000 computer sessions in 2022. So our most popular items in 2022. Anyone know why Mouse by Art Spiegelman might have been on that list for most popular graphic novel?
It was banned.
Yes, so a school board in Tennessee banned it on the eve of Holocaust Remembrance Day. It is a graphic novel that depicts the life of Spiegelman's father, who is a Holocaust survivor. So when that happens, usually we see the usage on that item go right up, and that's what happened. The Violent Conspiracy was our 2022 Richmond Read selection, and I'll get into that program a little bit more. So we can see along the trends in programming and things like that where our usage for items tends to be. 3 children's movies were the most popular: Encanto, Finding Nemo, and Jungle Cruise. So that's just, always popular things there. So Richmond Reads. Richmond Reads is a program we began in 2019 as a community one-book program. In such initiatives, the community reads the same book and engages in discussions. This program was designed after a long-running program called The Tale for Three Counties, disbanded, I think, in 2013. And we wanted something just for the Richmond community. Past programs included Southernmost by Silas House, Nothing More Dangerous by Alan Eskins, The Music of Thieves by Eileen Garvin, and The Violent Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. 2 of those years were virtual because of the pandemic, but we're excited to, last year was in person, this year will again be in person. And this year's selection is Hang the Moon by New York Times bestselling author Jeanette Walls. It is undoubtedly our biggest get yet, I would say. We're very excited. Ms. Walls will visit the library in October. And we're actually really excited this year. We're partnering with the high school. We've partnered with GCC in the past, but this year Jason approached me, asked if we could get the high school involved. We are still kind of building the program just with COVID and all those things. So we couldn't really land, on what our solid program was going to be. So we're really excited to have the school working with us. The book is perfect. It blends a coming-of-age story with historical context about the time of Prohibition. Walls is an award-winning journalist in addition to being an author, and she really did her homework in terms of her research with the book. Some of the teachers are incorporating it into the curriculum, and they are also going to have the chance to meet the author at an event at GCC on October 10th. So that will be with GCC students, and they're also participating in a student review contest of the book. So that's Richmond Reads, and I guess we'll see at the end if anyone has questions. This just kind of outlines our programming that we have. This week we have a Real Discussions. Walls' memoir, The Glass Castle, has been a bestseller essentially since it came out. And there was a film made about it, so we're showing that at the library this week. GCC is hosting a Music of Appalachia concert next week. We have community book discussions, and then again the student program with the author and the author visit at the library. After school. So just to switch gears a little bit, so we have kind of an ongoing process of finding out how to best serve the middle schoolers that tend to flock to the library after school. You may or may not be aware that we've kind of struggled with this group, dealing with their energy. The library is not always the best place for that. we've had some behavioral issues and the fact that unfortunately many parents consider the library to be a child care resource. It's not. We have attempted to mitigate these issues. One way that we've done this is with increased communication with our staff in the middle school. We've worked closely with Nate to try to make sure we're all on the same page. Dealing with the SRO has been great. Just kind of a more low pressure, you know, she knows the kids and it just tends to ease situations when we have more serious things happen. Another is to increase regular after-school programming, which definitely does help if we can get the kids engaged in something productive and structured. So this year we have board game club, esports club, we've always had DIY programs, art club. One of our library assistants started a teen tween walk and talk, so they just walk and they talk about what's going on in their lives, and it sounds simple, but it's been really popular, and then other programs throughout the school year. So both, you know, communicating with the school and trying to have more for the kids to do has been, you know, so far has been working. We're still early on in the year, but it's been a more positive start to the year than we've seen other years. And then lastly, summer reading, 2023, just to share some stats. We always offer summer reading for all ages at Richmond. The adults get into it sometimes even more than the kids do, I think. So adults and teens, they do a summer reading bingo program where they can complete reading challenges to win prizes. Kids also have their own program. They earn beads for the time that they read, and everybody gets prizes, all those good things. So you can see our numbers here. Our teen program actually doubled this year, so that's exciting. We're trying to work more with that demographic. Excuse me. And then we had 53 total programs over the summer with a total of 1,628 attendees. I believe that's my last slide. Okay, questions or comments? And of course, Beth's not here, but she would always be happy to answer any comments that you have, questions like that. And one more program I did want to bring up quickly is our library visits program. So traditionally, the library visits program has been, it's grant funded, and the grant provides that we can offer library services to homebound individuals over a certain age. We recently got another grant to fund the program as well, and this opens it up to anybody who's a caregiver can receive library visits, library materials delivered to their homes. So this could be, you know, a parent who has a special needs child, anything like that. They can take advantage of this service. We can bring anything that the library offers. We can bring it right to their home. We also help with tech. Basically, yeah, anything you can get at the library, we can bring to you. So we did bring some brochures. So we're trying to just expand in that direction a little more away. You know, we're still working with our senior population, which is traditionally thought of as the homebound population. But, you know, even if it's somebody who doesn't want to drive in the winter, we'll bring stuff to your house. So I did just want to give a minute to plug that program, and it could be a resource for parents, grandparents in your community.
How did you get connected with that?
So it was initially, our initial grant is through the Marshall Foundation. The Rochester Area Community Foundation administers the Marshall grant through the Office for the Aging. So that was the first one. And then more recently, the program's been going for a long time. More recently, we were able to obtain the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation grant, which allowed us to expand into the caregiver community. So it helped us just expand the population we can serve.
So if someone needs that, they just can call the library?
Absolutely, yep. Totally free, obviously. You know, we have a great network of volunteers. They deliver books to people. You know, during COVID, we had a funny story of someone putting a fishing net out of their window and he dropped books into it, and, you know, so our volunteers will go to any length to get, you know, stuff to people, and so it's a great program.
Just for, in terms of context, yeah, I'm sure some of you know, but many years ago, the library was gifted to the school district by Mary Richmond in honor of her son, Dean Richmond, of Batavia history fame. And so the school district owns the library. We're essentially the landlord. The library has, their own operating budget that they use, but the district is very much involved with the operation of the library in terms of the budget and that type of thing. They're also, as we talk about the capital project down the road, there's also some improvements planned for the library as well. So it is kind of it's a special relationship that we've inherited, and we're trying to nurture and improve and cultivate over the years. So just Sam and her team, they do a fantastic job. So thank you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Jason got us started at the library, so.
I did, that's right, I did, yes, many
And
years
Peyton
ago.
works there now, but he didn't want to give this presentation, so. Any other questions or things I can answer for you?
I can just say that you are a valuable resource for the middle school kids, because my granddaughter, who is now going, well, she is a freshman, she's not going to be, she's a freshman here at the high school, and that was one of the things she commented to me about, was missing going to the middle, going to the library, and that's where she got started on Mouse.
Oh, great.
Then my sister
Great.
bought a copy. I have, I think, almost every grandchild reading Mouse.
Excellent.
And it's an important book,
It
and you
is.
guys, it's good service, so thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is our own Mr. Jason Smith with the superintendent's report.
Sure, thank you, John. So first of all, welcome to Peyton as our student board, as our school board rep from the students. Peyton has his own report, but I'd like to welcome Peyton. He's a senior this year. I know he's very excited to be part of this process. So Peyton, welcome aboard. I want to recognize Scott at his last board meeting officially. So Scott, thank you. We wish you well down the road. Of course, welcome back to all of our families and students as we open up the school year. Special thanks to our parents for their patience for the opening week of school busing issues. We've gotten all of those resolved thanks to SDA for their response time, and of course our office and our clerical staff for patiently answering every phone call that comes their way. They've done a great job of that. I want to recognize again the Richmond Library, and we're excited to partner with them this year for Hang the Moon. I read the book this past summer. And Mr. Tress and his students are looking forward to participating with the author later on this month. Last Friday morning, Ms. Wesp successfully led our first BHS Senior Sunrise at Vendetta Stadium at 6 a.m. We had about 50 students there, so that was very well attended at a brand new event. Also launching this month, we're going to partner with Batavia Kiwanis Club. We're going to form a Key Club here at Batavia under the leadership of Mrs. Allison Chua. So that's going to be a partnership between the district and a local group here in Batavia for Kiwanis. Say that for the end. Want to recognize Alex Velds and Bronx Buchholz for receiving Week 1 Coach and Player of the Week. We have open houses coming up this week. Jackson's was last week, or Robert Morris was last week. Jackson is this Thursday. The middle school is next Thursday, and the high school is after that, so please feel free to attend those. Next Tuesday, you may be receiving invitations for the Glow with Your Hands event. It's an event sponsored by Generously Livingston, Orleans, Wyoming County. It's at the fairgrounds. It's designed to expose our students to manufacturing. It's a great opportunity for our students to be there as well. Parent Square is up and running. We have 100% of our parents signed up, at least at Jackson School, so we are getting more and more parents signed up with Parent Square. And last piece, I want to recognize, we are in the process of a year-long study, actually a 3-year-long study with our admin team on a concept known as professional learning communities. You may recall we attended a conference back in February in Arizona to kind of launch this. With Molly and I, we've launched this initiative with our team. There's a variety of sessions that we're going to be attending here through a special project in New York State. And really, the key question we're going to be looking at in this process, Molly's going to give you some more details, but really what the 4 key questions are: what do we want our students to learn? How will we know when they have learned it? What do we do if they haven't learned it? How are we going to respond? And then how are we going to respond to those students who have demonstrated mastery? They seem like they're 4 easy questions. They're not. There's a lot of work involved. So we've launched that project this past August. We're going to be going through with several more sessions involving our principals, our admins, and our instructional coaches, and Molly has some more details to share as well.
The project really is the most comprehensive initiative that I've led here that really comes with many of the goal areas from the strategic plan. we're really ramping it up in terms of what it means to be a collaborative team. We've had grade levels meet, departments meet for years, but really honing in on what it takes to answer those questions in a way that moves every student along is something that we're excited about. We think that it's going to just take it to the next level. And having the curriculum marked on that website will be another huge feat, where Brian Sutton's working with me to put things in place so that we really are ensuring that everything that we do is documented in one easy place to get to, so that whether it's a new hire or somebody here, they have the resources that they need right at their fingertips. And then we're continuing on with effective teaching in every classroom. Each school selected a high leverage strategy that's going to go with, it fits nicely within the lesson plan template that we anchored in on last year. Just going a little bit deeper with it, and they're going to hone in as a school on that. So it's neat to see, where we're going in 3 of the 4 goal areas right now. The instructional leadership team is a part of it, the coaches are a part of it, the principals are working with their shared decision-making teams to ensure that those areas are part of their plans, and it's really pretty just neat to see everything come together.
As part of the workshop series that we've signed up for, there is an opportunity for you as board members to participate. I think that's in November, so that's coming up, but you received invites, we'll send them to you again. So there is a board role in this. We'd like you to participate, and Molly or I will send you the information in this week or so. So really excited about that. So any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, next up, for his first report, our student ex officio, Peyton Wooler.
So first, I guess I'll reintroduce myself. Most of you probably remember me from the first meeting in June last year. But this is my first one actually serving. So I'm Peyton, I'm a senior this year. I'm mainly involved in the music aspect of the building, doing things like drama and production club, triums, things like that. I currently am part of the ACE program over at GCC. So currently I'm 4 classes away from my associate's degree in criminal justice. And then I plan to go on and get a bachelor's in psychology and political science from there. So moving on, freshman orientation went well. I was lucky enough to be a part of that as one of the leaders of it. We had a really nice turnout there. And even though it was clear that a lot of the students were sad to be back at school or weren't too interested, they all really put forth amazing effort in getting interested in the building and participating in all of the events that we had planned, which I'd also like to shout out our APs with, because they took not only that, but I'll get into later how they've taken on student government as well. And I just like to thank them, considering how much work they've been doing for us. The first few days have been going well. I was worried about the phone caddy policy and how that'd go over, but it's honestly gone over well with the students. Obviously, not everyone's happy to give up their phone, but as far as I've seen, no one's protested against it in classes, and everyone's just sort of been putting their phone in, and I think it's working well. And even for me personally, I feel less attached to my phone, so I'm kind of thankful for the policy in some ways. Our home opener football game also went well. I wasn't able to make it myself due to work, but I got messages from a bunch of people. We have a group chat for the Blue Zoo specifically, and planning out all of those things. And they said it was a nice turnout and that it was a lot of fun for the home opener. And then we started getting our homecoming plans into action. We had a meeting last week for that with Mr. Usain and Mrs. Corzilius and all the student government members. We're finally setting that up, and it's going to be the last week of September, so I'm really looking forward to that. Senior Sunrise, I got to go to that, take some pictures for our yearbook there, and even though it was early, it was a really nice turnout, seeing everyone there, and just everyone having a nice time at the football field. It was really nice to just all get to hang out there before school. Other than that, I just want to say I'm excited to get to work with all of you, and I'm ready to help in any way that I can.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Good job. All right, next up, grouping of consent items. I need a motion so that we can group the consensus agenda items E through J. Could I have a first motion?
So moved.
Mr. Regan, can I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, next up, old business. Approval of the BCSD safety plan as presented on August 7th, 2023. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Regal, could I have a second? Ms. Bowman?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Approval of the BCSD professional development plan for 2020 through 2025. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Regal, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Review of the Smart Schools Bond Act investment plan. Could I have a motion, please? Ms. Bowman, second?
Second.
Mr. Regal?
One moment. I just gotta fix something here.
She didn't like my second.
Sorry, guys, hold on one moment. Okay. Giving me a little bit here. Smart schools. All right, so Smart Schools was Mrs. Bowman and then Mr. Regal.
Yes.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay.
Approval of the BCSD policy manual, first reviewed on August 28, 2023. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Bowman, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay. On to new business. Approve job descriptions for the business administrator and athletic director. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Riddle, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolution to increase the 2023-2024 budget. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Regal, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right, now we're on to, do any board members have any comments or anything they'd like to report on to the public at this time?
A couple things. We just approved our couple new leadership. Our new athletic director, Ryan Winchip, started as our new athletic director. Also, Kristen Lawton, am I pronouncing her last name right? As our new AP at Jackson Elementary, and Kristen Smith at the middle school. So I'm excited to have a new leadership team in our district. We're looking forward to new faces and hope to see that they enjoy it as well. And also take the time to, again, thank Scott. Now it's your official, I think I thanked you last meeting, but now this is your official meeting, last meeting. You really are appreciated for everything you've done for this district. You always made yourself available when we had questions. You dummied down some of the board budget stuff so we can understand it. All the abbreviations and numbers, you made it so we can understand, and we appreciate all your dedication to our district over the years.
Well, thank
So we hope you enjoy your next stage there.
Yes.
That's anything else? Scott, you're going to be missed,
Well, thank you.
but congratulations and enjoy. You deserve it. The administrative reports on curriculum operations and business office are all online, so you guys can all take a look at those. Next, we will be going into executive session. The board will not return to public session. We're going into executive session to discuss matters relating to the medical financial credit or employment history, or a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or a corporation. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Regal, could I have a second? Ms. Bowman?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.